What's up? Welcome back to the channel. Mark Haynes doing stuff. Today, very special guest. Got my girl Kelly here, and we have the topic of the day is joint health. How to take care and maintain your joints, and how to prevent getting any joint injuries, because I know a lot of you are exercise enthusiasts. So before we get into that, listen to this.
Mark Haynes is the sexiest man alive.
I agree.
All right, so first of all, Kelly, could you introduce yourself to the audience and let them know a little bit about your condition and why, so that they can know why that you're the expert on joint care?
Sure. So my name is Kelly Boyd. I was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis when I was 2, and I have been a board member of the Arthritis National Research Foundation for 12 years. I was vice president and also the author of Juvenile Arthritis, The Ultimate Team Guide, which we'll refer to and provide some tips from.
All right, so all you weightlifters out there who have some joint problems, this is the expert here. So she has the solutions that can help with your joints. So the first part of this video I'd like to talk about is, what can we do to prevent from getting joint pain? Like, is there certain supplements we can take? Is there some certain foods we can eat that will help?
So some people believe in glucosamine and chondroitin. Others take calcium, and then a lot of people are now into the herbal remedies. So those are some options. You can also run by your options with your doctor, or if you have a trainer or somebody you work with in the fitness industry, to see what they think is best for you based on your needs.
Yeah, I definitely, I take glucosamine and chondroitin, and I can tell a difference. It feels like the joints have more lubrication when I use that. What about, like, is there any foods, diet maybe, that prevent like your joints from getting inflamed? And is there certain foods to avoid, certain foods you should eat?
They do say to avoid a lot of sugar, which we know.
Yeah, well, you bodybuilders out there, you don't want to be eating a lot of sugar anyways.
Yeah.
Unless it's like post-workout and you want an insulin spike, but...
So obviously, in the same vein as calcium, milk is great for your bones, and water, lots of water.
So you want to stay hydrated, and that helps your joints. So this is stuff that you should be doing anyways, but a lot of people, we forget to do it as bodybuilders or as regular people. We
some of us are not so great at that.
Yeah, and I was telling her she needs to make sure she gets more calcium in her.
Yeah.
So what about okay, what about, like, is there certain stretches that you do to prevent yourself from getting joint pain?
One thing I was going to say is really important to do warm-up exercises and stretch the muscles around the area that you plan to use the most that day. So there are a lot of different types of stretches you can do, and also, before I forget, cool-down exercises are important as well. So when you're done working out, you want to slow down gradually, so you don't overdo it.
So it's kind of like a pyramid up. Like, you don't want to start out too heavy with the weight. You want to warm everything up, and then once you do the heavy set, then you want to lighten the weight and do some lighter sets to cool down.
And warming up is important so you can avoid injury and stress to your joints and muscles and all.
Do you know what the most common joint pain is that people have? Is it like
well, I would say probably knee or hip, but I can't swear to that.
Yeah.
I will say also there are over 300,000 children who have arthritis and over 50 million adults.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so if you're having joint pain out there, you're not alone. Obviously, there's a ton of people that are dealing with this, and we just want to manage it as best as possible. So if somebody has severe joint problems, what would you recommend for that person?
Well, definitely go to your doctor, because with the workouts you're doing, a lot of people think that joint pain is just from stretching or overdoing it at a workout, but it may not be. So arthritis tends to go undiagnosed in people who are athletic or do a lot of sports because they think it's just part of their everyday life, and it's not. So the longer you go without having it diagnosed, the worse it gets. And that's sort of what happened to me in a way. I actually was diagnosed pretty quickly, but back in the 80s, they didn't have a lot of treatment. So it really took a toll on my joints. And I try to educate people to know that if they feel like something is off, to get checked out, because you want to try to stop it in its tracks. And there is the medication to do that now.
Yeah, so don't forget your questions and your annual, checkups with the doctor and everything. And if something doesn't feel right, then make sure you let somebody know about it. If you're in severe pain, don't feel like you just have to tough it out and live with it because, okay. And what can somebody do, like exercise wise, if they're in pain? Like what would you recommend that they do?
So swimming and other low impact exercises are great. Yoga. If you have one of the big, what's it called? The big ball, the stability balls.
Like the exercise balls, like those, the real big ones. Yeah.
So those are good for stretching your joints. You could also work again with a trainer or a physical therapist. I've done that. I like to use the new step at the gym. You're allowed to say that.
Yeah, what's that? What's that piece of equipment?
That, instead of actually sitting on a bike and pedaling, you are on a seated stepper, basically. So I still get my cardio in, and I can watch how many calories I'm burning, how far I'm going around the track, but I'm sitting, so it's taking stress off my joints and enabling me to do things that I couldn't always do. Otherwise,
I prefer the elliptical over like the treadmill because it's a lot of pounding on the knees and the hips when if you're running on the treadmill or something.
So new step is good, and I like to do the ab crunch. Mark knows that.
What kind of shoes should they get, like special soles for their shoes?
So you can get orthotics, and I see a podiatrist, so I am actually not supposed to wear fancy shoes, but I still do, so I can't help it. I'm not always the best example, but I might be a good example of what not to do. But comfortable shoes are important, shoes that support you and, just, help you with your balance. And again, you can get advice on that from your podiatrist, and I actually got a script to get special shoes. So,
is there any like a brace or like a wrap that you? Does that help? Anything like that? Like if somebody has elbow pain, could they like wrap their elbow with?
Yeah, so I have splints that I can use to kind of keep my joints in position, and you can wrap them. Also, I use different ointments to help with the pain. A lot of times I'll actually put them on ahead of time, like when I start the day out. And although you want to be careful with putting on too much of things like BioFreeze or the lidocaine, because it may lead you to think that your joints are not in pain and you'll overexert yourself, so then you'll cause more damage.
It kind of numbs it, and then you yeah, I think sometimes with the wraps too, people they might wrap it too tight, and then so if you're using a wrap like an ace bandage or something on your knees, just make sure you don't pull it too tight and give yourself like a false sense of that it feels okay, and you could do some damage.
Yeah, and follow directions, because I had a friend the other day who was advised to wear kind of a brace in her shoe, and she wore it too long, so the next day she could barely walk and almost fell. So do follow the directions.
Yeah. So there's some good tips here. So everybody out there, you want to make sure that you're taking your proper supplements, you're eating a good diet,
Turmeric is good.
Yeah, turmeric, and drinking enough water, stretching, as I've said here many times before, doing your stretching to take care of your joints. Use the proper equipment. Don't do something that's gonna aggravate it, like pounding movement, like running on, like I see people sometimes run on concrete or something like that, and that's just a killer for your knees and your hips. But
Yep. But definitely now's a great time to go swimming. It is, like I said,
Yeah.
low impact. The warm water is great. And you can really work out all your joints in a way that's not going to leave you in pain.
yeah, so low impact exercises, and so if you follow these steps, you should be able to live, as pain free as possible, and still get all your workouts in without having to suffer through everything. So I want to thank our guest here, Kelly, for being here. She's the expert on this. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments section here, and we will answer any of your questions. And make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back for more interesting content, more information to help all of you guys with all your daily lives, making everything easier for you. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.